Hi everyone, Susie here from Minnesota, and I garden in a zone 4. It is the middle of June, and I thought I'd just kind of take you on a slow garden walk through my garden. It's early morning. The sun is definitely shining on this area. About 7:30 is when it starts to shine over here, and it does not stop until dusk. I love this walk up the side of my house, and no more plants. I've got it cleaned up. It feels so good. And it is just going to be kind of a slow tour, so you can hear the bird song. The sound of nature is the most relaxing. The William Baffin climbing roses are performing beautifully. I'm putting out new growth down here, nice and thick. I'm going to have to get those tied into the arch here. In this tour, I'm not going to go over a lot of plant names. I just want you to see what I see when I'm in my garden. I do a lot of tours, so most of those plants are named in other tours. If there is one you are wondering about, just leave it in the comments and I will get back to you. Hopefully I do know the name, but I know it's just a single petal variety, but the bees love the single petals. So, and it's just such a joy to watch them. Not an overly strong scent to this rose, but it's very vigorous. I just planted this last year. It was bare root. This one was smaller than that one, so which is obvious, but when you think all of that growth, and it's still going to be growing because we haven't had any rain, and the roses are unbelievable this year. We had a mild winter. I know the rest of you kind of you experienced a Minnesota winter, but I experienced a zone 5, zone 6 winter, which would be amazing. It's supposed to be 90 degrees today. The last of the 90s for a little bit. So yes, my air conditioner did pop on. So the one thing about so far this season that's taught me is relax. Don't stress. Yes, there is browning at the bottom. Yes, I've had rabbit damage. Strong winds, high heat. My peonies went through their bloom cycle really quick. But isn't that glorious? I just need to stop and relax and listen to the bird song and watch the bees. Take deep breaths and go, you know what? Things still look really good. A lot of watering, but I'm focusing on that because I love those two colors together. That is seeds I started this year, perennial seeds, Veronica sightseeing mixture. I will say if you are into starting seeds, try perennial seeds. So far I've been amazed. I didn't think I was going to get any blooms this year. I thought, you know, they're going to have a lot of green, but next year it would put on its show. In here I have foxgloves, and it's going to be the Dalmatian Peach hybrid. They've pulled through so nicely. I know there's flower spikes on there. Maybe not all of them, but some. So very happy with that. But look, I also did this. When I was fretting a little bit about especially some rabbit damage, I was just, But this is a columbine I grew from seed this year. I think it's called Yellow Pink Swan. I didn't think it was going to bloom. I didn't know that columbine did bloom that first year. Maybe not all varieties, but this one does. And Like, I wasn't going to plant them because they look tough, but I thought, I'll give them. They all have flower spikes. Look. I'm amazed. I'm absolutely amazed. So I know next year I will be looking into some more perennial seeds to see what else I can grow. Because I am definitely hooked on seed starting for sure, especially after that. Dianthus is still kind of doing okay. I have been stepping on them. It's the only problem when it's so close to the path here, which I do love looking down this way. On the plus side of no rain, everything is standing upright. There's no flopping. Yes, there's yellowing inside, but everything else is covering that up. But the lady's mantle, Alchemilla mollis, I know when it rains, all the blooms will flop. It will perk back up. If it doesn't, you can just cut them off, and the foliage still looks great. The bees do like the hardy geraniums. And this area just looks so great over here. The lamb's ear. I was reading up on it, and it did say that a lot of times when you let it bloom, a portion of that plant will die. But I really do want to see what they look like. All I want to do is touch it. That's crazy. So I am going to leave it. I think I can afford to lose a portion of these plants. My yarrow is blooming, so that's upright with no rain. I'm sure if we had a heavy rain, it would lay that flat. I think it's an amazing plant. I love how flat those, are they umbels? And the bees love it. The tall garden phlox that's where I notice a lot of browning at the bottom, but it should pull through. I mean, it's phlox. I'm sorry, look at this rose. This is an oh so easy double red. And I've had so many comments on this rose. It is red, but it is not, I don't know, not red. It's got a lot of pink in it, so I don't know how I don't know how to explain it. Even on camera, it's not catching its true beauty. It's catching some beauty, don't get me wrong, but in person, it's just, and there is a light scent, but you really have to get close to it. Every now and then a wind will kind of carry that scent over here. And I do have some foxglove planted back here. If I can show you, these are struggling a bit. I planted these before the heat wave. I wanted them to get out of the cans, their containers, but yeah, we'll see what happens with those. But the Baptisia back there, I just love the structure that offers after it's done blooming. What's not to love about these grasses? They do get a little floppy, and they get enough sun, but towards the end of the season, I do have to tie them up just a little bit. This rose down here is Italian Ice, also easy rose. Again, I have lots of comments on this too from family. My niece's graduation is tomorrow, so I'm so happy that these roses are in full bloom. Along with the Nepeta cat's pajamas. I'm going to have to give it a haircut. I had tulips in here that was smushing it down, especially this one over here, but it's my cottage garden. Embrace the messiness. White Wands Veronica is going to be putting on a show here very soon. I can't wait. Don't want to say it. I feel like I'm going to jinx it, but I'm glad the rabbits haven't found that. I just planted this. I thought this plant was so interesting the other day, and it is a Stachy's officinalis pink cotton candy. Okay, I love that. I do have some gaps in here. I'm like, maybe I will put some back there too. A new bee balm. I love bee balm. And this is Balmy Rose. And it gets about 10 to 12 inches tall, so it should be perfect for this area. And again, I love bee balm. The sedums look pretty good. And this is another hardy geranium. It's offering some texture. It is definitely just, I would not recommend this one. There's just something, it was wow when it first started coming up, but now it's just kind of lost in here. Maybe if it was in front of like a bold textured leaf, like the elephant, not the elephant ear, the lamb's ear, you'd probably see that lacy texture a little bit better. This lily got super tall. It's an oriental lily. Penstemon has been lovely. That purple foliage, those white pink blossoms. And more foxglove, and look at this flower spike here. I think I'm just going to keep this tour to the back of my garden. There's not much color in the other ones. They're my shade garden. At some point I will do a tour just to show you how good some things look, some of the struggles. Or this rose here. The bees love it. It does go over really quick, but it's just loaded in bees. My cut flower garden is coming along nicely. Just zinnias and sunflowers. Really like this one. And that one's getting massive. I probably water this once a week. Just a very deep watering. Look at my sweet peas back here. I think this one is called Miss Wilmot. There's another one in here. I think it's Beaujolais. It should just be, well, I'm hoping this color. Look at that sunflower. One second. The mosquito landed on my We are joined by our little friendly neighbor. Still there. These are all just like the Queen Lime series. This is Queen Lime with blush, I think, or blotch. Same with this one, so you can definitely see the difference. There's 4 plants in here. I have grown the Queen Red Lime before. Fell in love with it, so I had to try the other ones. This is just the Queen Lime Green. I was expecting a little more than just, well, maybe this one. And then this is the orange, Queen Lime Orange. And I think I fell in love with the Zinnia because they're all different. So it's like you can have all of these in a bouquet, but yet it could be from the same plant and they'd be a little different. Because look how deep that orange is. You can see there. See how same seed, just a little different. So it's probably just the way the sun's hitting it or not hitting it. So anyone who says that they can't get Cleome to self-seed, I have one right here. I'm leaving it. But I had thousands of seeds in down here. I don't know if I can... I'm a zone 4, so if it can self-seed here, it should be able to self-seed. And I'm not exaggerating, thousands. This is how dry we've been. This ground is like concrete. So if I plant, I have to water first. Yeah, more Cleome down here, and it's just growing in mulch. Are you enjoying that bird song also? Look at how big this one is. What happened there? I'm not even going to say big, it's fat. Look at that. I know they're just zinnias. I'm sorry. I probably should get a move on. I just love showing you my garden, even if it is just simple zinnias. I had planted some Verbena bonariensis. They are seeds that germinated from my winter sowing that actually pulled through. A hot day, I forgot to water them, most of them, and came back to shriveled, fried little seedlings, which was also some delphinium. Just got this from a greenhouse. It's what, Ami Magus Green Mist. I know it gets tall, but I like that unevenness in a garden. Not everything grows from small to tall perfectly. Yeah, the dahlias, oh, it's pushing out new growth here. Okay. They went through a struggle. I do have some more. I'll show you my tray of flowers. I still have some of my verbena left, so I'm hoping for a rain on Sunday. And then I'll probably plant a little bit more just to soften that ground up. This area I expanded because it cut in here, went like that, and it was a little difficult with the lawnmower. I was having to weed whip, so I just moved the rock out. So it didn't expand it by a lot, just probably about 2 feet, maybe. And this is where I put a hardy geranium. I got that from a plant sale, along with, I went with another Nepeta. This is called Persian Blue. And it's just an ajuga down here. It's one I bought online. I think it's Fancy Finger or something. I'm surprised it pulled through because the other plants I ordered did not, except for one other one. So not very happy. My online plant ordering probably will come to a stop. This is Stacky's Humelo. Shouldn't it be taller than that? Did you hear that bee by us? And with lots of creeping Jenny coming through. And I did plant some foxgloves there that I had left over. I planted valerian here. If I find another one like that, these were just seeds I started this year, I'll move those to a different spot. And I had also just put this plant right here. Is a great blue lobelia. I just have that one. I just planted this. So I don't know if it went through its bloom already or if it's going to be going through it. It is native. That's what I have left over. And the verbena's over here. It's a little wonky in growth, but that's okay. And then that's it for all of my plants. I gave a lot away. I hope they enjoy them as much as I have. Primrose is looking good. I did have to water this the other day. I'm really picking and choosing which perennials I water. Definitely the ones that I planted this year. But any of my existing ones, it's just, unless they're looking really tough, I'm letting them kind of hold their own. But when I was looking this up, I had gotten this from a friend, 15 years ago when I started gardening. She calls it primrose, but I think it also goes by sundrops. And in the past, it has been as tall as the bird bath. But in a dry season, it doesn't get very tall, which is good, so I can see the bird bath. Cleaned this out the other day. The Cibaria sorbifolia. I was gonna cut this down a little bit, but look, it's got a bud. I couldn't do it. I'll let it bloom and then kind of cut it a little bit. I do like the alliums, how they look. They just did not bloom a whole lot either, but you know what? They left some really nice structure. I've seen people on YouTube spray paint them, but I'm just going to leave them. And hopefully you enjoy this tour. I know I've been doing a lot, so I'm a perennial gardener. There's not a whole lot in color at all times. They each have their own little cycle, and then the next one hopefully picks up. This year I did just a few coleus cuttings in the gardens, along with some you'll see here in just a sec. But if they make it, I'll be surprised, because I am only focusing on what I really have to water, and if I have to choose between an annual or a perennial, it will always be the perennial or the shrub. Giant fleece flower looks really good. It just, the wind does do a number on this plant. I did plant some more columbine down here. I think it's either going to be Denver Gold or Alpine. So we'll see which one it is. I don't know if this one's going to bloom, but I definitely wanted to give it a chance. But that blue foliage next to that chartreuse hosta, I think is really pretty. More valerian, anthos valerian, painter's palette, persicaria. It does self-seed, and I let it because it's over here too, along with some beautiful weeds. So I don't have a weed-free garden, and I'm okay with that. And mahogany hibiscus splendor, an annual, just a seed I started. So I have it planted in a lot of areas. I'll see where I like it the best, what kind of sun it likes the best, where it looks the best. And like I said, if I remember to water it. I am cutting off all the flower spikes on my hostas this year just due to the drought we're having. It doesn't look like that. I'm a lot of shade, but where I get the most sun, it's brown. And just because I don't want it to stress the plant out any more than already, because it's the first year I've ever had scorched leaves on hostas too. I did water the pulmonaria, and I'm glad I did because I can see some new growth. That's just bent blooms. And normally that new growth, when it pushes through, will cover that up. And if not, I'll go in and deadhead it a little bit later. Astilbes are getting water too. They look really good. Lady's mantle just pulls through anything. Chocolate shogun, it doesn't bother me if this doesn't bloom. That foliage is amazing in itself. This is, was it blood sorrel? Red-veined sorrel. I know when it's time to water because when I come out, this plant is flat to the ground. I mean flat, but it perks back up. I don't know how I feel about the grasses. Hakana coil grasses don't ever really do good in this zone. That's about as big as what they get. That one's nice. I did move this one. This was over here. I think the rabbits were chomping on that one. You can definitely see this area is not as filled out. But it's still hanging in there. I did clear away Sheldon so you can see him. I think it's a perfect spot for him, don't you? Tucked away amongst all of that foliage. So wherever this has just been planted, I'm going with another ground cover in here. A Japanese spurge or pachysandra. And I did have coleus cuttings planted in here. And I didn't like the way it looked. And then I stood back and I thought, do I really want to take the time and water this? I mean, perennials have a deeper root system and a little more vigorous root system than annuals. And I was like, do I want to focus all my attention just trying to keep these alive for a season or go with perennials? So the annuals I do have in here, I'll show you if they make it, they do. It's hard because I know that annuals give you that pop of color when everything is green, but I like this garden here. This is I feel very calm in this garden. All the different colors of green, the variegated leaves, the texture of leaves, the blues. So it's just any strong color in here, which I had redhead. It was probably, that's a very wow standout coleus, but it was too much. I did have a lot planted. I pulled it out, gave them away. I wasn't happy, and then in the minute I don't know, there's just something about this garden, especially in the morning, the way the sun comes through, that it's so peaceful. When I'm ever having one of those, stressed out moments, I just especially walk through this area. I think a shade garden tends to do that for me. I love the way the sun comes through. So I am trying heuchera. Palace purple so far, I've started from seed, seems to be working out the best. These grasses are solar flare. I wish I would have planted them a little closer together, but at this point I'm not moving a whole lot, just based off of this. The start of this growing season has been a little trying. Mahogany hibiscus splendor, it does get that afternoon sun, and I think that color with the blue hostas here, again, I am trimming up the flower spikes. I do like some flowering. If it would be a normal year, I would leave them, but it definitely hasn't been normal. Hopefully this little slow garden walk isn't too boring for you. And here is where I planted some coleus. So this I don't mind so much because it's got a little more green in there. But when I planted these, this ground was bone dry. It just crumbled. So the only time they're going to get watered is if I'm back here watering something else. That's why you might see them in this video, but they might not be in the next one. And if the rabbits would leave them alone. So this is where I have a little more. So when I'm watering this container, I do kind of give these a little bit of water, the ones that I can hit with a watering can. I should water these ferns. They'd probably perk up just a little bit. They're about flat as a pancake. Yeah, I have to clean up my little bird feeder. So this is a view that I just saw the other day when I was watering back here. To me it looks like a picture frame when I'm looking through my swing. I forget to look up when I'm doing my tours because I'm always focusing on individual plants. I said I was going to focus on just the backyard, but I think I'm just going to go through here real, well, quick-ish, not horribly quick. Just kind of show you how the new area is doing. And the rabbits keep eating on that one. I don't know why they leave the other. I mean, I'm not complaining. I'm glad they're leaving them alone, but I don't know what it is about that plant that they like versus the other ones. Maybe it's more stressed and they can sense that. The foxglove looks green and healthy. Ostrich ferns still look horrible. I could probably cut off that dead, but heuchera is still blooming just a little bit down here. I do like the honeysuckle bush. Curly Fries hosta. This is a must-have small hosta in my beds. I watered this last night. Yep, I watered my invasive snow on the mountain. It was flat. You can still see some. It might still be drying. I was just overhead watering. Couldn't help it. I can't get in there with the hose and water at the base. And I only did it because I want things to look kind of semi-decent for my niece's graduation party. I'm giving up on these. That's the heuchera that the rabbits just seem to munch continuously on. I might replace with Palace Purple heuchera, but not right now. Because if I put it there, they'll probably go straight to that plant. This is where I have coleus. Cuttings, this is a little bit easier because there's a lot of plants in here that have just been, I need to cut that flower off, that have been planted. So I do hit them with a little bit of water. And some more hibiscus. And columbine. I think this is the alpine columbine. And coleus in there too. Love that. I love that color there. It's kind of a rust color. That's what I was trying to go for with the paprika. And in these little open areas, I have more. I had so many of the hibiscus that I started, so I thought, why not? If they don't work, it was just seeds that I started. This Palace Purple heuchera, I got that from a coworker. That looks really good. I might just dig a few of those up and put them over there, but just noticed this right now. This is Jacob's Ladder seed I started, and it does starting to bloom. This area is looking a little tough due to the heat we've had. Oh, this hibiscus looks really good in here. That's put on some growth. Okay, so there is adequate moisture in this area. Look at this foxglove. That's why I was like, yeah, I have to get this on film. Dalmatian Creme Hybrid. It does have another flower spike. I will be trimming up that foliage here soon. Neaten it up. The coleus has filled in really nicely. I think it'll look good in this area with the Sun Kings. And that does look a little bigger. I'm having issues with my black lace elderberry. It is pushing out new foliage on top, but that it is just browning and crisping up at the base. I hope it's strong enough to pull through. The Sun Kings, you wouldn't even know that I moved them. But the black lace elderberry is throwing a fit. Yeah. I'll be doing some trimming here too. I've been having struggles with this Bobo hydrangea. All the rest look good. I don't want to jinx it, but I don't know what's going on with this one. I'll just let it pull through. This Palace Purple heuchera that I started from seed. Looks good, but you can definitely tell when it gets more shade, it's a little more purple. I thought it would be reversed. That new growth comes out like a really vibrant burgundy color, but then it starts to green up. I was worried that this area wasn't going to be getting enough sun to make the bulbos happy, but I think they'll be fine. They are loaded with buds. At least 3 of them. I just wanted to show you my tree here. Could be wrong. Is it Hot Wings Titterian Maple? I'm asking it as a question to you guys, but it's more to myself. But look at that. It is the most beautiful this tree has ever looked. I think it was just a mild, mild winter. The entire tree flowered. Isn't that beautiful with the blue sky? The lamium down here is doing good, along with the wandering Jew cuttings acting as a ground cover, which is being a bit of a bully here. I'm like, go that way. They do, let's see if I can find one, they do latch on at some point in the ground, so which is good. But if it was wetter, it would probably latch on a little bit better. I stepped on that one. That was doomed from the get-go. I think the rabbits also chewed on that one. I think it'll fill in really nicely. It might take the whole season, but that's okay. That's part of gardening, is waiting for that end result to see if it fits the picture in your head. Just more hardy geraniums. So, again, if you're also new, these are all pretty much seeds I started this year. Will they all come back next year? I'm not sure, but it'll give me time to think. I have to mow today, but I'm going to set the blade high just so I can mow off all the little tree roots that you see poking up in my grass here. Like right down there. That's all you see. So hopefully you enjoyed this slow garden walk with a beautiful bird song. It probably did get a little bit long, but I'm okay with that. So hopefully you enjoyed, and bye for now.